So we're here, we're smoking the bowl that you packed with no direction whatsoever. Sorry, I was distracted with Gabe fanning himself. So, not Dave, how do you feel about your pack?
Good so far. I think it needs more heat, actually. Even more than the 3 cubes we have in here.
And I mean, it's not bad. We have done a couple other tests and everything. We didn't use the apple on top, or no, we did, but we also used the lotus and everything. And I do remember that bowl was rough. Could have been how we packed it. It could have been something else, but I do remember it was rough. So I was a little scared it was going to be kind of reminiscent of that. You know, like when you smoke a bowl and it's super hot and then it just like punches you in the back of the throat.
I actually enjoy smoking that way. I smoke hot. So I would say the aspects are that, I mean, every bowl's different in the aspects. And as I said, on the packing style to it, I normally pack in something that's going to be less tobacco. So adverse effects, maybe, probably not. Tobacco's still going to smoke. I would say with the larger bowl, would throw more heat onto it.
Yeah, so it can penetrate deeper into the tobacco.
The other side to it is that I own a Lotus. I recently repurchased a Lotus, but I only use a Provost 99% of the time. I started using a Lotus again because I noticed that trying to be more well-rounded and pay attention to how other people smoke is sometimes important, so that you can see the different ways that people enjoy smoking culturally, as well as like what's going on in modern events in the hookah world. And the Lotus itself is predominant if you look at, you know, overseas. They always smoke with a Lotus. They do what they call Mickey Mousing, right? So 4 cubes and then 2 cubes that are actually offset into the center of the Lotus. And it's a really popular way of smoking, and you only, I guess, maybe an hour is what they try to go for, but the bowls tend to be hotter and they actually pack away so that the Lotus doesn't make any form of contact. So it actually acts, how we like to say, is it acts like an oven where it's just heating it up, it's not making contact.
It's not setting it on fire.
Yeah. Even the Lotus itself, they recommend keeping it as minimal contact with the nubs on the bottom because of that.
Right.
The Provost is normally more forgiving because you have the opportunity, and it's called heat management, but it's very simple. This is a wind cover. You take the wind cover off, right?
Yeah, and it lets out some of the heat and everything.
And that's why there's even people who have offsets, like they'll set their lids like this. There's people who'll even offset to that degree to kind of vent the heat a little bit more.
So you said you like normally smoking your bowls hot, right? So you like that feeling of getting punched in the back of the throat?
A throat hit's good.
Huh?
A throat hit is good.
Are you a masochist?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I don't know, I see that look in your eye. I feel like you might. Do you have any repress?
Am I repressing things? Probably, but am I a masochist? No. No, it's just how I've always smoked. And I will say that there's a learning curve to using these types of systems, by all means.
When you change anything or if you're trying something new, there's always going to be a learning curve.
Well, yeah, and the first time I used a Provost, I literally hated it because I didn't take the effort to try and do the workaround to it because it was something different. But that's just that learning curve situation that you do see that comes in with tobacco, right?
So,
in some cases.
Right. When you were learning about it, did you just was it sort of just trial and error, or did you talk to people about it or something, or?
Trial and error.
Trial and error, okay.
So like the AOT bowl that came out, that's the actual apple, I've owned one, and I think that is actually not a good bowl. The best part about that bowl is the fact that they give you a windscreen. And then there's other aspects that you'll hear in the industry as well as to different coals having different heat outputs depending on brand. Like Prestige bubbles, they normally are considered, well, I say would be a low heat coal. Well, then you can get brands like Cocoa Earth or Superior Reds that are, I would say, of a more established higher heat, or at least they bring the opinion up to it. I haven't really ever been like, hey, let's thermal test these. I don't know anyone that really does. With coconut coals, I mean, most people look for longevity, how much they ash, if it's like a disproportional amount of ash to longevity, and then some people like to test how long they take the light. And given that's going to be different than the Japanese coals.
What about taste? Taste is something I hear about sometimes.
I've smoked long enough with them, I can't taste coconut coals, but it is very much, there is definitely a point where you will taste coconut coals or taste the ash aspect.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that would be more of an issue if you just had the charcoal directly on the foil and everything, but with this, you kind of have an ashtray basically, so you're not really dealing with that.
It's in the sense the Provost axe is, it does actually act, I would say, as more of a handicap situation. And the Lotus the same way is, right?
Right.
It allows you to smoke. It allows you to smoke, I'd say, a little bit more lazily because it's a set it and forget it. And that's one of the aspects is if you're smoking at home, gaming with your friends, whatever, at a party, the last thing you want is someone fiddling with their coals if they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've been burned, I've had hookahs knocked over on me. It's the same concept is that that ditzy white girl drunk at the party is gonna knock that pipe on you and then you're gonna deal with burn holes everywhere. So overall, perspective.
It's not bad.
All right.
You should be proud of yourself. You even like kind of had to work with a bowl that you're not super used to with the size. So
yeah, but I mean, if you spoke as right as enthusiasts should be familiar with a lot of aspects to how to pack a bowl. I mean, even like Egyptian bowls are getting more popular now again, and it's the same thing as I had to relearn how to pack an Egyptian because it had been so long. So always taking the effort and time to go into what's new as well as adjusting to something that might be more traditional in a more modern state.
So it is starting to kick up now. It's not as wispy as before.
More heat, man.
Yeah, more heat fixes everything.
You live in the desert, you know this.
Yeah. Not my whole life, but most of my life.